Well, I'm joined now by Mark Moore, the founder of Christafari. You came up with a brand new song called Pandemic, the Quarantine Anthem. Why don't you tell me a little bit about the inspiration? Why did you decide to write the song?
Well, we had come home from a tour. I was got a sore throat on the plane on the way back from a month-long tour of Brazil and Argentina. I go to the doctor. The doctor tells me I have to go into quarantine. I'm like, I don't have the coronavirus. I know I don't. They're like, no, you have to go into quarantine. We were out of tests. And so I spent 2 weeks just kind of frustrated and obviously watching each one of those things that we cherish, the movie theaters closed, the restaurants, shut down for dining, and all these things change. And then all of a sudden the toilet paper frenzy, and it quickly became a hand sanitizer apocalypse. And so I obviously, just as a creative with the creator inside, I started writing this song, and this melody popped into my head. I forwarded it to our guitarist, who's right now stuck in Brazil. We have 4 band members still stuck there. We just started bouncing back tracks, and long story short, the whole concept of this kind of song that plays around with some of the memes, some of the TikToks, some of the things that people are talking about, even joking about from in the video, the running treadmill with oil on the wood floor, or different things like that, using toilet paper as currency. But the real heart of the song is don't fear and don't panic, and God's got this. God is greater. And there's one thing I don't say in this song ever, and that is coronavirus. I call it COVID-19. I call it other things, but dreaded virus. But I don't say corona, because I say Christ is the king. And ultimately, he's the king of all kings, and he's the one who we want to be focusing on right now.
Tell me a little bit about the difficulties of producing a video like this if you had 4 members who were still stuck in Brazil, and then you're also talking about filming while you have stores that are closed, movie theaters are closed. How are you able to produce this video?
Well, thankfully, over the years, just a little bit of a rewind, we became full-time musicianaries about 7 years ago, musical missionaries. And so we raised support to go. We're typically in 25 to 30 nations a year. And as we go to these places, we see these incredible backdrops, these incredible people. And so we have to film them, whether it's just a phone or a camera that we have. And so we've kind of figured out how to do music videos. We've put out about 80 music videos in the last 7 years. And so for us, doing a music video was easy. I have a home studio, doing that was easy. And then we just had to figure out, how are we going to go certain places? Well, that's when we get a big blue cloth, we hang it up behind and do a green screen. So sometimes when you think we're in a grocery store, we're not. That's just a photo of shelves. And then obviously just keeping that social distance. The biggest challenge for me is I'm a hugger. So, when I'm working with someone, I want to hug them afterwards, saying, great job. And we weren't able to do that. But I did go to the grocery store one time. I was genuinely buying groceries, and the shelves were completely empty. So what do? You sing and dance in the middle of the grocery store because there's nobody around, and because those shelves are empty. And we did, I won't say the name of the store, but a guy came to kind of say, hey, you guys got to get out of here. But besides that, we did it all from home. One of the biggest challenges, my daughter, who just turned 8, her birthday party got postponed, and then finally we just said, hey, you know what, let's have it today on your actual birthday. And so we had to have a virtual party. And so that wasn't us acting with the little phones and doing FaceTime with her friends, and the piñata. She loved it. She got to get all the swings of the piñata that she wanted and all the candy. But, we're having to get creative in what we do to bide this time and to not just survive, but thrive.
So Mark, what's been the reaction outside of the one in the store? What's been the reaction that you've gotten from people who've had an opportunity to listen to the anthem?
Well, yeah, and just for those who don't know, it's on YouTube. It's called Christafari Pandemic, a Quarantine Anthem. The reaction has been fantastic. It's encouraged people to put their trust in God. I just want to encourage you guys also. There are 365, actually 366 times in the Bible where it says, fear not. And that is that is something, that is a commandment, one for every day of the year, including leap year this year. And so I think people are kind of encouraged. We're trying to give them courage that we will get through this, that this is not the end. Don't give up hope. And then beyond that, we've also had certain things go viral. Like we have in the song, we have a cover up your face dance, and that's going viral. We've seen probably about 15 countries, people from 15 different countries posting it. We have another one. Our keyboardist in the song takes his headphones and goes like this and makes a little bit of a headphone mask. A lot of musicians are doing that as a kind of a meme or whatever. It's fun to see these things spread. And in the same way, we don't want to make this, what's going on, this pandemic, seem like something positive or be happy in it. But at the same time, we have joy in our hearts. The joy of the Lord is our strength in this tough time. And so we're trying to lighten the moods. We could have used the green screen behind us and had these giant coronas just floating around, looming, and we could have shown hospital beds in Italy and things like that. But I think we're bombarded with those images already. I think what we need is to remember that Christ has the wheel.
Mark, how do you encourage Christians in times like these to be the hands and feet of Jesus, especially when you have to buttress that against the concerns, the very real concerns of this contagion? How are you doing that, and how are you encouraging others to shine the light of Christ in their communities, even while we're trying to keep a good social distance?
Well, I guess the same way that we're having this interview right now, there are so many things that are changing. Obviously, churches that did not have any sort of online presence are now going virtual. Churches that had an online presence are seeing double or triple or quadruple the attendance. One church that we're a part of just saw 3,000 people give their lives to Christ on one Sunday. People are flocking to the churches, if not physically, which they can't, virtually. And so I think there's a hunger, there's a thirst. So what I want to encourage you, I think it's 2 Corinthians 1, the comfort that we received, to offer that comfort for others in any struggle that they're facing, any trouble, any trial that they're facing. And so I think to be that kind of hiding place, to be that shelter, to basically show that God has done this for us, and now let's pass that on. They talk about an R naught in the movie Contagion. And if something's R1, one person's sick, one person gets it, and it doesn't really explode. And obviously the R naught for coronavirus is high. But what about our R naught for our faith? What if one person can reach 2, and those 2 can reach 4, those 4 can reach 8, or even more so? Exponential growth of faith. That's what I want you guys to be focused on. That's the contagion that really matters.
Mark, I know on any typical routine, you'd be on tour again. So I guess this is a hard question to ask you, but what's next?
I may not know what the future holds, but I know who holds the future. I'm supposed to be in Israel right now, going to Egypt next week. We're supposed to be in Italy right after that. We're supposed to be in 10 nations that we've already postponed. But God is in control. And, there was a time over the last year where I felt like God was saying, you know what, you need to have some downtime. You are pushing so hard. You're going, 30 nations a year. And so I'm just having to embrace this time and thrive in it. And I want to encourage you guys, as God has put the brakes on things, that this is not the end, that he has a plan for you. So what are you going to do in this time? Are you going to bloom where you're planted? Or are you just going to wilt away on the couch watching, binging on Netflix? I wouldn't encourage that. I would encourage you to get creative, and you have the creator inside. Use that creativity for the good. I want to see a lot of books written. I want to see a lot of movie treatments written, and in our case, music videos filmed in our garage.
A time to be creative indeed. Hey, Mark, I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, is there anything that you would like to say or a prayer that you'd like to offer before we close?
Definitely. I believe that God's got this, but as we're seeing right now in the media, things will likely get worse before they get better. And it's time for us to be a light, a city on a hilltop like never before. It's time for us to get creative. We're not supposed to hide this light under a bushel. and it's so hard to get it out, but you can through social media. You can through calling friends, FaceTiming friends, through reaching out to those people. So right now, right after you watch this, just look through your phone and just pray through that list of friends and just say, God, who should I reach out to right now? And I believe he'll put the right people.